Hey, yo, what up? And this is Worst to Least Worst presented by Hoops FYI. And today we're going to do a mid-season review of each team, division by division, going over records and stats, and how each team ranks within that division and league statistically. In today's review, we're going to take a look at the Central Division. Before we jump into the review, make sure you bless the page by clicking the subscribe button, pull up a seat, grab a drink, a snack, and join us on our other media outlets, TikTok, Instagram, and make sure you become a member at hoops.fyi. And be sure to get in the comment section to voice your thoughts. With that settled, let's do a brief overview of the Central Division. The Central Division collectively has a record of 136 wins and 138 losses for a win percentage of .496. The teams in that division are the Chicago Bulls, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Detroit Pistons, the Indiana Pacers, and the Milwaukee Bucks. 4 of those teams are in the playoff hunt, 3 within the top 6 seeds, and 1 in the play-in game, which is the most in the league. They have the last place team in the division, 2 teams in the top 5 in the offensive ratings in the conference, the lowest rated team in offensive ratings in the conference, the highest rated team in defensive ratings in the conference, and they have 1 team in the bottom 5 in defensive ratings in the conference. And now moving on to the teams in the Central Division. Coming in at number 5, we have the Detroit Basketball Pistons. They entered the break in the 15th spot with only 8 wins compared to 47 losses, putting their win percentage at .145, which is also last in the league. They are the record holders of the longest losing streak in NBA history and the longest in modern professional sports history at 28 games. There was a team back in maybe the 20s or 30s or something like that that had a 29 game or 30 game losing streak, and that was in baseball. It wasn't in basketball though, it was in another sport. When we look at their offense, the Pistons have an offensive rating of 110.9, ranking them 5th in the division. They scored on average approximately 112.91 points per game, placing them at the 4th position within the division. They are the last in the division in 3-point percentage at 36%, and last in turnovers at 14.89, also ranking 21st and 29th in the league respectively. However, they are 1st in the division and 8th in the league for offensive rebounds per game, averaging 11.18, which we can thank Jalen Duren for, who is 7th in the conference and 8th in the league in that category. Defensively, the Pistons sit at the 5th position within the division for a defensive rating of 119.8. They allow an average of 122.13 points per game, putting them at the 4th position in the division and 27th in the league. The Pistons are 26th in the league for defensive field goal percentage at 49.4%, and they also struggle in defensive 3-points, ranking last in the division and 24th in the league, allowing 37.9% from trey. As for stealing the ball, they struggle in that category too, ranking them last in the division and 30th in the league with an average of 6.02 steals per game. And coming in at number 4, we have the Chicago Bulls. They come out of the break with 26 wins and 30 losses for a win percentage of .464. That places them at 9th, which is a position in the playoff game in the Eastern Conference. On the offensive side, the Bulls have an offensive rating of 113.5, which is 4th in the division. However, they average 111.8 points per game, which is last in the division and 21st out of all the teams in the league. They also struggle in passing, being at the bottom of the division and 28th in the league with an average of 24.45 assists per game. Their field goal percentage is a little wacky too, as they sit last in the division and 21st in the league, shooting 46.7%. On the brighter side, they turn over the ball, the least in the division, and rank 3rd in the league for fewest turnovers per game at around 11.79. On the defensive side, their defensive rating is 115, which lands them at the 2nd spot within the division, and they do a decent job of keeping their opponents from scoring, allowing only 113 points per game, which is 2nd within the division. And coming in at number 3, we have the Indiana Pacers. Heading out of the break, the Pacers had a record of 32 wins and 25 losses for a win percentage of .561. This puts them in the 6th spot in the Eastern Conference, or they were in the 6th spot coming out of the break in the conference. They have an excellent offensive rating of 120.5, which is best in the division and second best in the conference. They also perform exceptionally well when it comes to scoring points, averaging 123.81 points per game. That's the highest average in the division and the highest average in the entire league. The Pacers are also first in the division when it comes to assists, with an average of 30.98 assists per game. This also makes them the league leader in that category. Their shooting from the field is exceptional too, at 50.8%, which is first in the division, and their shooting from three is exceptional also at 38.2, making them the best in the division and 5th in the league. As for defense, the Pacers have a rating of 119.2, placing them 4th in the division. They've done a very, very, very nasty job at stopping teams from scoring, allowing teams to score 122.16 points per game, and that's ranking them last in the division and 28th in the league. They also struggle defending the basket, as they rank last in the division and 30th in the league, allowing 50.4% field goal rate, and the same goes for rebounds. They are last in the division and 30th in the league with an average of 40.67 rebounds per game, and second to last in the league in defensive rebounds with an average of about 31. However, the Pacers do shine in stealing and blocking. They lead the division in both steals and blocks, as they're 8th in the whole league with an average of nearly 7.81 steals and about 5.82 blocks per game. All right, now moving on to number 2, we have the Milwaukee Bucks. They're coming out of the break posting 35 wins against 21 losses for a win percentage of .625, placing them in the 3rd spot in the Eastern Conference. Offensively, the Bucks have an offensive rating of 118.9, ranking them 2nd in the division and 3rd in the conference. They score an average of 122.02 points per game, placing them 2nd within the division and also 2nd in the entire league. Where they struggle a little bit is in the offensive rebounding category. They are last in the division and 26th in the league with an average of 9.36 rebounds per game. On the defensive end, the Bucks have a rating of 115.9, putting them at 3rd in the division. They allow an average of 118.84 points per game, also ranking 3rd within the division. However, they are 1st in the division and 7th in the league at limiting opponents' 3-point percentage, allowing 35.5% from 3. They are also very strong in defensive rebounds, leading the division and ranking 2nd in the league with an average of 34.66 rebounds per game. And now for the number 1 team in the Central Division heading into the break, you have the Cleveland Cavaliers, who posted a record of 36 wins and 18 losses, giving them a win percentage of .667, positioning them as the 2nd best team in the Eastern Conference. On offense, they had an offensive rating of 116.2 for 3rd in the division. Additionally, they are scoring an average of 114.78 points per game, which also ranks them 3rd in the division. Defensively, their defensive rating stands at 110.3, making them the top team in the division and the top team in the Eastern Conference. They keep their opponents at bay by allowing an average of only 109.33 points per game, which is 1st in the division and 2nd in the league. They are equally effective in opposing field goal percentages at a 45.6 clip. This is the lowest in the division and the 4th lowest in the entire league. They are also strong in rebounds, averaging 44.7 per game, which is at the top of the division and 7th in the league. However, the team struggles in blocking shots, averaging only 4.76 blocks per game, which ranks them last in the division and 21st out of all teams in the league. All right, that's it. Thank you for listening to this episode of Worst to Least Worst by Hoops FYI. And that's it for the Central Division. Let's see how the second half of the season goes. Milwaukee, they probably have the most pressure out of any of the teams to win. They've had the most erratic offseason or the most erratic moves since last season. So, all of the chips on the table for them. Cleveland coming in, they were really hot. They were on a hot streak. Let's see if they can keep it going. They have a little bit more stability. They don't have new coaches. They don't have new players. They kind of have the same thing going on. So let's see how they do. But before we get up out of here, remember to hit the subscribe button, like, voice your opinion in the comment section, and follow us on TikTok and Instagram. And subscribe to the community at hoops.fyi. Until next time, peace.